How is everybody doing? Welcome back to the Higher Frequency. I am your host, Mike Booth. So, today, we've got a couple of little things we're going to go over. I kind of wanted to get into some, I don't know, maybe a little darker subject, but then, kind of bounce it back. We're still building, and we're at a point where we don't really know which way we want to take this show. I would like to do an amazing interview to start off and get some interviews going. So we will hope that that's going to happen within this week or next week. I am dealing with a lot in my life right now. I have a bunch of stuff that I really, really want to do an episode about and talk about some things that's going on in the world. This one thing I want to talk about would be one of the best episodes of all time. I really want to celebrate this woman. She's amazing. She's no longer with us. And I think that it would be an amazing opportunity to get that story out, to explain what's happening, especially in the world that we're living in now, where everybody wants to say something's racist or something is, breaking us apart, or there's always somebody pushing us towards fighting one another. This woman was truly amazing in the aspect of just caring for other people and really putting herself out there on a limb and not knowing if she was going to be safe, not knowing if these things were ever going to come back to her. She didn't care about any of that. She just wanted to genuinely help people. And she changed the world for me and for a lot of other people. And I'm hoping that I can tell her story soon. I just don't want to. I've got a lot of stuff on my mind. I really don't want to put that out there yet until I'm 100% satisfied that I'm able to do that story justice. Today, I was going over some videos and I keep seeing these weird random things. Civil War, Purge, just awful pushes towards arguments, fights. Our top future students, our top future people in this world are coming up to bat, and they are being berated and arrested at an alarming rate inside of these colleges. And I think that a lot of times we have these moments where conversations could change the outcome of certain things, but because we get so caught up in left-wing, right-wing political nonsense that just divides us as a country, we sometimes forget that we are the bird itself, and that the bird is flying. This country is doing fantastic. It is flying, and it is on top of a lot of other things. It's the youngest country there is, as far as I know of. It's pretty much the youngest country, or at least one of them. And we're definitely on this, top of the list up here. I'm not going to say we're the top of the list, but we're up there. And I feel like this country could be the top of everything, that it could be the absolute top of everything. But I think there's a lot of animosity, hate, fear-mongering, people just generally putting wrenches inside of the gears and trying to stop things up. And I think a lot of these people who are genuinely angry don't really have a lot of room to stand on. And I don't want to sound callous in the fact that I'm saying, that they don't have a leg to stand on. It's because people are genuinely trying to help them or genuinely trying to understand them, and they're putting up with nonsense that's just becoming targeted by people who are just angry. They're just angry, and they're trolls. They're going out of their way to make fun of a system that's trying to help them, and I don't understand that. I'm completely perplexed on how that works. I seen a video of a woman who was talking about the LB, uh, that really long lettered community, which um, I don't really see an issue with somebody going out of their way to be gay, queer, transgendered, whatever it is that you are doing or having an effect on. I think that that is completely in your wheelhouse to deal with, and that I salute you for coming out. I think that you're doing wonderful. Do whatever it is that you need to do. I take issue with when people are trying to help and you criticize and berate the people that are actually trying to help you. There was a woman who, I guess she considered herself um, a plethora of things. She was leftist, trans, like I mean, went through a list of things. And personally, I don't think that she was taking that serious. I think that she was trolling the community that she's trying to live in. And I mean, I can't make that call. Nobody else can either. Only she can make that call. But to me, I feel like as a person who's trying to help different communities get together and stay more united and not divided, I think that anyone who's trolling any of these communities, I don't care what it is, if they're trolling and making jokes about serious things that people are having to go through, these people need to understand exactly what these people are going through. And it doesn't help the fact that there's people out there trolling and just trying to just jump in there and just clog up the gears, just acting a little bit more than what it is. You don't need all of that. I think that this is where people are starting to get upset, and these things are starting to fall apart. It doesn't matter what group you join. You can join any group that's out there in existence, but I promise you, it will be bad. Inevitably, it will be bad because if you have 100 people that join this group and one person, it only takes one person does something stupid amongst your group, you are entirely responsible and a part of that group now. So, like these people who do the protests, I don't think that there's anything wrong with protesting. I think that that's completely understandable. When you start blocking off traffic, or you start making it to where the people who really want to help you and support you can't do so because you're being too far out to where you're trying to radicalize the situation. You want to get news coverage for what it is that you're doing, and in this day and age, you really don't need to do that. I mean, just a simple, community gathering will suffice and do just as much as whatever the hell they are calling this other stuff that they're doing today. It's it's kind of frustrating because it's like I watch these people go out of their way to be really supportive of the community that they're in, and they really want to just be a part of something, because we are tribal as humans, and we really want to be a part of something. But what we forget to take account of is that when we join something, I don't care what it is, you are taking on the worst qualities that organization it has amongst itself. So like let's say I wanted to be a Boy Scout today. Like let's say I wanted to go out to the Scouts. It has a horrible connotation of the minute little thing that happened in there. It's blown up to epic proportions to where there's many of people who you just don't even want to be in the Scouts. Nothing to do with the Scouts. Let's say you wanted to go to a church and your church is doing great. You guys are out there helping people. You're angelical. You're out there just doing and spreading good words and good deeds. But let's say one pastor, one father, whatever you want to call it, one leader of your group goes out and does something stupid, spends money on something he shouldn't have spent money on, goes out and does something dumb, sparks a whole conversation to where he's just belligerently saying something that he shouldn't have said. Your whole group will suffer for that deed. And by extension, you're going to suffer from that deed. And then what I see, and this is the worst part of it, is instead of somebody saying, hey, I see that this has took a turn for the worst. Maybe we should back this up and apologize for whatever it is that we're getting caught up in. And maybe you just don't want to be in that group anymore. Maybe you should turn around and do the solo thing for a while. We don't see that. What we see is we'll see people come together, and this can be anything. This can be like gang members. The gangs sounded great at the beginning. And don't get me wrong, there is tons and tons and tons of gangs out there. I mean, I consider police officers to be a gang. I consider firefighters to be a gang. I consider all of these groups to be gangs. I mean, the biggest gang there is the military. And I mean, really, they all wear the same colors. They all do the same salutes. Everybody does the same stuff, and it's a big gang. But what your gang does matters. So if your gang is out here doing community outreach and you're out here helping painting houses or cleaning up, parks, that's fantastic. And I think that people will look at that and say, man, these guys are doing their thing. These women are doing their thing. It doesn't matter what's going on. This is a group that's actually trying to make changes and really trying to help people. But then you have that one person in that group that just decides today is that day where he wants to fight somebody. And while you're on a community outreach or whatever the case may be, that person decides, I'm going to start a fight, or I'm going to just steal, or I'm going to go shoot this person, or I'm going to stab this person. It doesn't even matter what it is. That one incident now transfers a stain right onto the side of your whole organization. And your whole organization just looks like shit. And nobody wants that. And I think that happens a lot of time with a lot of people. Politics, you're seeing all of these, like, dude, there's some amazing people doing some amazing stuff in our government. Like, but we'll never know because all we see in the news and in the radio and all this stuff is the wrongs that we see. We see one person who supports a bill that absolutely nobody else wants to touch. It's just a complete horrible mess, and they promote it. And instead of coming back and saying like, hey, look, man, this was a horrible idea, they double down, mainly because they get, PACs and people pay them to get these types of movements rolling. So like you've got these kids and these students that are out here in these colleges, and they're getting paid to get out there. They're getting paid to sit out and cause mayhem on their campuses. And it's pretty obvious to see. I'm not going to say that it's super obvious. I mean, there's a lot of people who apparently just don't notice it, but for the most part, it's pretty easy to see it. I mean, you can see that they're all using the same tents. They've got the same sleeping bags. They've got the same provisions. They're using the same, just everything. It all comes together in one neat little nifty package. And you got to think to yourself, who's promoting this? Who is wanting this to take place like this? Why would they want this to happen like this? And every group, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be, and mind you, these are students that are our next up at bat future leaders. These aren't just normal kids at some daycare or some crap. These people are literally going through higher education, higher learning practices. You know how much their families have to pay to get these guys and women and people just in these colleges? Like, it's an exorbitant amount. And so they're not dumb by any means. These are people who are they're learned. They go out of their way to study more than anything else. Well, some of them not so much. They're just there for like a little scholarship or just doing the best that they can to scrape by, which there's nothing wrong with that. College, To me, right now, college is awful. I wouldn't endorse it for anything. Trade schools is where I think everybody, if you're an American, I think you should have to do 4-year program, like off the rip, of any kind of trade school you want. And I think America could cover that from retired people in those fields. And those fields would generate you a job and a lead, and then you'd pay it back as you started working with them, because it's most times you're learning on the site. And I think that you could easily pass that into existence, to where some countries, they make people join the military, and your military will be a guaranteed way to learn something, because you're going to be in the military for 4 years, so you're going to have to learn something. And I think I genuinely love that. I love the fact that you're not only are you building a community of people who know what to do, you're building strong bodies. You're building a group of people who get like a camaraderie by what they're doing in life. They get to learn a trade, and they come out of there fit, understanding of the rule sets that are out there. They have their minds on a swivel. Like, they're so clear headed and they're so goal oriented. The military people out there, I salute you, because that is just amazing to me. And I think everything about that is, it has good intentions. And I think that everybody out here understands where we're coming from on that. And nobody can say, if you see a soldier sitting up in his dress blues and they're just, they're looking all fucking just extremely good, they're not going out of their way to cause any trouble or any drama. They're just literally looking professional, coming out clean cut, got all the medals and all that. You cannot look at that and say, okay, there's a troublemaker right there. You're not going to do that. You're going to look at that person and you're going to be like, yeah, yeah. The respect that goes in there, it's overwhelming and it's overflowing. Like, I've been on Greyhound buses where I've seen soldiers and military show up, and they get on to the bus, and people just stop and stand and just give them a salute, or like nod of approval. Like, it's just amazing. It's a good feeling, and I think that people need that in this life. We need to embrace the heroes of this world. Now, what this goes into and what I'm going to be talking about is I think that everybody that's out there right now genuinely wants to do good. Now, I know there's a lot of people that's going to hear that and be like, no, 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 which I can understand where you're coming from on that. I have seen some really horrible stuff as of late, but given the opportunity, I think that most people, I'll say most, I won't say all, I'll say most people want to make a difference. They want to be known, and they want to live a happy, generalized life where they succeed. They feel the accomplishments of what they've done. They go out of their way to live a good life. They meet somebody, they feel good about themselves as they pay the bills that they have to pay to get out there. These types of things feel amazing when you get them rolling in a sequence where it actually works. Now, for some of us, me included, I have worked hundreds and hundreds of jobs because I didn't understand the front part of it, where you had to learn the skills that you needed. I just wanted to join a job, be already a part of the team, and just start making money right off the rip. That's what I always understood it as. That's not going to happen. You have to understand your craft. You have to know what it is that you're signing up for. You have to know how to play your part in this game. And if you're trying to be a boss the moment that you jump onto a construction site, they're just going to laugh you off of this construction site. Like, go get your ass back there and go pick up a board or something. Go get to work. Nobody wants to be that. Nobody wants to be the grunt. Nobody wants to do the dirty part of the job. But I'm telling you right now, the dirty part of the job is the parts that I remember. And it's the parts of the job that, for me, gave me a sense of gratitude that I'm not doing that job anymore. I get a sense that I'm just genuinely grateful to have the chance to do the things that I'm doing now. And So I listened to a buddy of mine. He does his own little podcast and a show, and he promotes the news. Now I've never done the news, and I don't know if I'm ever going to do the news because I feel like there's a lot of times I want to say stuff that's on my mind and I want to talk about stuff, but I don't exactly want to push an agenda either way. It doesn't really matter what way it is. I feel like there's agendas that show up. But this guy, his name is Bruce Snyder, and you can look him up. Really good guy. And he puts his heart and soul into when he's telling the news. He goes out of his way to give you context. He goes out of his way to give you good stories that the media will not share. Like, I mean, this guy has been doing this a long time, and it's the compassion that people do when they say something that gets me to follow you or to like you or to even mess with you at all. Um, for those of you that know me, I did an amazing wood piece for him for his podcast, and it says Mind Flex on the back of it, or Mind Fix on the back of it, and it's really nice. It was wood and resin, and I did the painting and everything, and I loved it. And every time I see him do his show, I get to see that sign in his back of his episodes, and it's awesome because I'm like, it just gives me that little like, yeah, I did good that day. And that's what I'm talking about. It's that satisfaction of being grateful that you did something amazing that I think that people need to feel. And there's a bit of compassion in there that goes for the people who really enjoy their work. So for me, anybody that I see that does that type of work, like anything, you could do anything as long as you're enjoying it and you're being like super grateful for just having the opportunity to do it. I see people do that and they get excited for the work that they're doing. They don't feel like they're at work. I had this beautiful opportunity this last 6 years of my life where I got to do a job, and I'll tell a little bit about this. I got to do a job where I never would have thought that I would have done this type of job, and I came onto it with no expectations because I had never done this type of job before, or this type of work. And I met somebody amazing who changed my whole life. My whole world got flipped upside down by meeting this person, by trying something new. And I genuinely now, if I think back on it, I get excited because this job, not only was it a fantastic job, but it changed me. It changed me physically, mentally, from the person that I was. If you would have seen me years ago, I was just a waste of space. I wasn't grateful. I was very ungrateful, to be honest. I was not in a good healthy space. I was trying to figure out how to make money. I mean, and money's important. I get it. We need it. It's something that we live off of, but the genuine joy of figuring out what you're doing in this life is it's superior in so many different ways when you can say I did that and feel really good about the job that you've done. And I think that that's back to what I was saying. Bruce Snyder had made a post, and his post was about joy, and that's if you follow this to the letter, you will get farther ahead in life. And it's in the order of Jesus, others, and yourself. That's joy. And I truly love that. I think that that's amazing. And you can switch these around for any, if you don't believe in Jesus, if you have a different religion, that's totally fine too. You could switch these around, but God, others, and yourself is the main point of what they were trying to say. And I think that that's really, really, it's amazing. You're able to be grateful for the opportunity to be here right now in the existence that you're in. If you are getting if you are getting brought up in a world where you have to fight for everything that you get and everything that you do, you're going to be rough around the edges. You're going to be horrible inside and you're going to hurt and it doesn't feel good. It's very difficult to feel grateful when you're biting back resentment and you if you've had it hard and you see somebody else having it a little bit easier, it kind of makes you resentful and it makes you just want to say something about it. It's like, so if that person says something, you kind of want to, that resentment builds up and you want to spew out hate of why you don't like that person because they're not doing it the way that you're doing it. That is the wrong direction to go. I'm speaking from personal experience. I don't, let me clear something. I don't ever want you to ever feel, while you're on this journey with me, I don't ever want you to ever feel that I think that I'm better than anybody, because I'm not. I am absolutely just some dude in the closet that is saying some stuff and hoping that you'll listen to him. I'm trying to be better than the person that I was yesterday. And if you understand that, you will understand why I'm so happy to be in this situation that I'm in now. If you would have met me 10 years ago, it would have been talking to a totally different person, just a uniquely different person. I didn't like the person that I was. I destroyed the person I was to be this person that I am now. And if you can understand that, then you have been through some growth too. If you can get that image in your mind where you understand, like, you had to kill the person you were to become the person you are, then you have my respect right there. Because that is the ego wants to fight back, and you want to be part of the just the grind that's happening out there, just the crap that's going on in the world. And trust me, when you're not a part of it, it's still going to happen. It doesn't matter that you're not there. Nobody cares that you're not at the party. Like, nobody gives a damn that you're not going out clubbing. Like, they don't. So there's a part of yourself that understands this and knows without doubt, in your own mind that you are not the center of that universe. You're not the center of that party. When you leave and you go to start working on your own things and you start to build the person that you're wanting to be, you will start to notice all of the little people that you thought were your best friends will slowly just wither away. Every time you make a new progress point, you make a new step for yourself, these people will have trouble following you up those steps because your steps are different than their steps. And especially if you get help from somebody else who sees you, somebody else that's already up there, and they see you down there and you're trying your hardest to get up these steps, and they see you doing that. They see you trying at least a little bit, and they throw you a little help to get you up that next couple of steps. And it might not just get you up 1 or 2 steps. You might get some serious help to where they even boost you higher than what they are. I've seen it happen. I've had it happen. And there's a point of yourself where you have to realize that the people behind you that just saw you get that nice little edge to push you up really high, they can't follow you up like that because they're not living the same pattern and the same life that you're living. In that respect, it's very difficult to be happy for somebody when you're going through the struggles. And I think finding it for yourself, like I said a couple of days ago, I had a couple of episodes back, I said, when you compare yourself to somebody else, you steal that joy that I just talked about. You steal that away from yourself. So comparison is the thief of joy. Period. It is a statement and a quote that I live by, and I think that everybody should understand it, because when you compare yourself to Tom, Dick, and Harry and all these other people that have much exaggerated things that's going on in their life, it's because they've had help. It's because they've embraced what they're trying to do, and they've taken steps to get up those hills that they got to. Problem is, you're down here on this step and you're wanting up there where you see them at, because you think to yourself, I can be that as well. I can do what they're doing. But it's not easy, and you have to take those steps. If you were born super wealthy with, silver spoon in mouth. You had every single opportunity given to you. You might not even make it up there because you might look at somebody who's down on these bottom steps and you might think to yourself, man, I want to be like them, because not only are they growing spiritually, but you can see the work ethic that they're putting in because of all the struggles that they've had to do to get where they're at right now. So you might have limos and helicopters and jets and stuff, but this guy over here has been steady working the last 10, 20 years, and you're watching this guy and he's been genuinely happy, and you're not, because you've got all this stuff, but you're not fighting for it like he is. You're not fighting for it like she is. You just have stuff, and stuff you were born with, and it's not the same. It's not the same correlation. It's not the same progress, and it definitely will not feel the same in the long run. So just being generally like excited about what you do, being happy about the progress that you're making. I can't stress this enough. It's amazing. It is a feeling all on its own that I think people should do more of. No matter what, you know, no matter what religion you're in, no matter what group you're in, just remember what I said. Take a look around at it. If you're in a group, just remember the lowest member of your group is still a member of your group, and they will be they will be looked at by the rest of the world as such. So if, from personal experience, I had a group of friends, and shout out to them if they're watching this. I thought that forever I had found my forever family. And I thought that, they respected me, and that I was this, you know, I thought I was this soldier that always had their back at all times. And I thought that I could make myself join up in what they were doing, and I could be a part of what they were doing. But we were all on so many different steps, and I didn't understand why I wasn't able to get up to the steps that they were at and to be happy like the way that they were being happy. So I filled my life with dumb shit that just I didn't need. I filled my life with petty compliments that didn't go anywhere. I filled my life with petty loves that weren't there whenever I needed love and affection back. I filled my life with people who I thought I would die for to help them. But in the world that I was living in, they wouldn't reciprocate that feeling because it wasn't as important to them as it was to me. And I think that once I realized that that's what was happening, I think there was a point in my life where I was homeless, but I was on a beach, and I know a lot of you have never seen a beach. There's a lot of people out there that's never seen a beach, and it's amazing. And I was sitting on a beach, and I was homeless. I was cold. I was miserable. I mean, there's sand fleas, and I'm sitting out there, and I'm just totally miserable in the best, most beautiful place in the world, and I couldn't understand what was wrong with me for me to be there in that situation. And to this day, anytime somebody asks, and yeah, I went out to Hawaii, it was fantastic, and everybody's like, man, you went to Hawaii, and they're so happy just in those words for me saying that. But if they understood just how miserable I was when I was out there, I can't explain to them because the steps were different. You see what I'm saying? Like, for me, I was homeless, couldn't take showers, couldn't go find, basic hygiene. I felt awful during the day because, I didn't have any sleep because I'm fighting off bums at nighttime for the perfect place to sleep. And you don't know the struggles that somebody is going through. All you see is the joy that they bring to you when they're around you. So during the day when I got to hang out with my friends, they saw me in the light of this guy who's pretty fun, who wanted to protect them and wanted to be a member of them and just wanted to be around them. You know, I genuinely brought joy because these guys, they made me happy to be around them because I thought I could be like them. I idolized the group that I was in. I really wanted to be special in the eyes of these people. And like I said, it's interesting to see from my perspective going from a homeless person who lived on the streets trying to be something he wasn't to meeting some people who again were on these steps that were higher, and they threw me things that weren't sometimes like, when you're down here on this bottom step, you're wanting money. Like that's what your mind is like. I want money. Like help me get some money. And it's like that's not what you need. You need to understand the situation that's going to get you to the next step that you're going to be on. And at the time when they were giving me these ropes to throw down to put me on to the next step, a lot of times I would burn the rope because I would think that this is fake help. I didn't understand that this rope was going to take me to the next step that might have taken me to the next. I just thought they wanted me to work for free or was taking advantage of me in some kind of capacity or some kind of way. I didn't see or understand the steps. I didn't understand the process of going up to the next step. So genuinely be grateful for the chance and the opportunity to be in the position that you're at. I'm here. I'm living proof that sits in front of you that these kind of changes can happen, even if it's once in a lifetime, even if it's 1 second that you take a step back and you notice, dude, I'm not the person that I want to be. Man, I'm making a mistake. I'm not this person. I don't act like this. Why am I doing this? And you take a step back and you start to change the person you were to become the thing that you're trying to be. That's, you just went up a whole bunch of steps and didn't even know it until you can look back down and be like, wow, I was right there. Wow, that was me down there, way down there. And you sit back on top of this platform and you feel all of the learning that you have had to do to get to where you're at. And I don't know who you are out there. If you're listening and you're hearing this, you will be grateful. You will find something in that you'll be like, man, I'm just in such a better place than I ever was back then. And I think it's important to understand that we climb those steps together. Makes it better and easier for everybody. And I think that all of that starts with just being grateful. I've seen a lot of people lately understanding that way quicker and faster than I ever did. And I'm proud of them for being able to do that because in my opinion, that is human beings. Our superpower in life is the fact that we can watch somebody fall off a cliff. And we can look at their misadventure right there. We can look at that and say, I don't want to do that. And we can walk away from the cliff because we've just learned this amazing little piece of information that says that when you walk off that cliff, that's going to be bad. And you're not going to like what happens at the bottom of that cliff. And you can see that, and you can take that into yourself. That's a superpower. You're literally looking at the future and saying, nah, I don't want that. Like, that's not where I want to be. And I want to change who I am so I don't fall off of that cliff. And you could do that. I did it. Other people have done it. It's, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's right there on the tip of your tongue. It's like trying to remember a flavor that you've been thinking about for forever. You have a favorite food that you just want to eat, and you understand it. You know the textures, the deposit of it. You understand that, and you have a craving for it. That higher step that I'm talking about is exactly that. You have a craving for it because you know that that's what you can do because you've seen other people do it. So you have a craving for that right there, and you want to get up there. So I'm going to leave it at that today. I don't think I 100% got it in there. Like to I hope that you can take something from this episode, and if anything, maybe I'll call this one grateful, because to me, that's what, when my friend Bruce, again, that's Bruce Snyder, you can look him up, super good newscaster, amazing guy. His idea, this was his thing. It was called Joy, and that was Jesus, others, and yourself. That was his little thing, and you can change that around with any being, deity, God that you believe in, whatever it is that you believe in. You can do it in that order that you feel comfortable in. I don't want you to feel like I'm singling you out because I said Jesus. I think the spiritual path that you find for yourself, it doesn't matter what religion you study, is self-growth. And the self-growth that you are trying to get to is these plateaus and these steps that I'm telling you about. Anyone can get to these steps. It doesn't matter what religion, what creed you are. It doesn't matter what sex, color, any of that. We're all climbing up these steps. And we all do it at different intervals and at different paces. And I'm going to tell you now from experience, the people who get up these steps the fastest are the people who can work together as a team and build extra steps and ladders and elevators and escalators and planes that can get you up these steps faster. But you can't be jealous of somebody that's up at the top of these steps. You can't look at them and what they've done and feel jealous. You need to feel grateful that these people are showing you, with your superpower that I'm telling you about, that you can do this too. That's all there is to it. And hopefully, and this is coming from me, hopefully I can meet somebody who's higher up on these steps that will give me a chance and will show me how to succeed a little bit better than what I am today. Tomorrow, the guy that you see here hopefully will be a little bit smarter, and I'll stay humble because that's in me. I want to be humble. I want to understand why I'm doing this. And I don't want to have a selfish goal or a selfish mission for myself. I want to genuinely help. I know that there's a lot of people who say that and don't follow up on it. But they also ask you for things. And I don't want anything from you except for to see you succeed and get up on that step that's a little bit higher. And if we can do that as a community, even better, because then we can start helping other people up these steps. There's no script that I have to follow. I don't have anything. I don't have any people that I have to work for. I don't have any, what do you call those, where they pay you to voice an opinion. I don't have any of that. I don't have no strings or whistles or anything that's holding me on any regard. I genuinely want to help people. I'm grateful for the position that I have to be able to help people. And hopefully you'll see that and you'll be able to spread that same message out to somebody else. And to me, that's a win. I mean, if I can go from being that cold, broke degenerate that was laying on a park bench to what I am now, which is a massive leap, massive bunch of steps, you can too. So I think with that, we're going to wrap it up. And I appreciate y'all. And let's hope that in the future, maybe this grows and more people will take notice and maybe something will happen from it. I don't know. Maybe they won't. But until the next time, later.